Good evening, good evening. This is Tony, Heal and Reveal on Facebook. And if you're on here, of course, you know I'm Heal and Reveal Tony Jenkins on YouTube, also known as T Jinx on Instagram. As usual, you know, listening to what my intuition or whatever the hell be speaking to me tells me to do. So, within reason anyway. So I was just sitting here thinking, Saturn goes back to direct tomorrow, although it stays in the retro zone for a few weeks after that. It does lighten up, but it is kind of like letting you know, hey, you need to do a little bit of review before I let you go out of this classroom. Then we have the moon will be in a new position on the ninth. It is a 9-9, so therefore, just like we had the 8-8 Lions Gate, the Abundance Gate, nines are a chance to get out of karmic lessons, plus their, potentials for endings. So you're going to be in between endings. So what we're basically calling it, well, what I'm calling it anyway, is a karmic gate. It's a chance for you to either fall through the cracks or to step out of that lesson altogether. So what I did was I asked for higher guidance for the planet. So this applies to everybody's moon signs. We're going to be under this new moon. This year has been more of an emotional year than it has been a solar based year, where you're getting growth out of it. You're getting a certain level of growth, but you're cutting away all these emotional cords and all these emotional attachments. So all these is your zodiac signs lined up, but this is based on your moon sign. If for some reason it resonates to your sun sign or your rising sign, take it with a grain of salt and do what you do. But the first two cards, this is Saturn, and I, applied their gemstones that are a correspondence for each planet and each zodiac sign. So the gemstone that is assigned to Saturn, one of them anyway, is Tiger's Eye, and then with the moon, of course, Moonstone. So the guidance that you're getting from Saturn, now that it's saying, "Hey, I'm gonna let you, have a little bit of breathing room," is the guidance from Saturn is health and healing, and the figure is Hilarion. Hilarion is a fourth century saint who kind of had like some, like, say, King Solomon type abilities where he could command spirits or lower level earthbound spirits to leave the body. So he was good at getting rid of harmful attachments. And think about it, with Saturn being in retro, this was a chance for you to make peace with all these past life issues or this current life issues, all these karmic attachments. So he's saying you should be at a state of health and healing right now. And if you want to, go into a play on words, look at his name, Hilarion. When you look at that name, I know for myself, every time I see the name Hilarion, I think of hilarious. And knowing what I went through for this year and what I'm, still on some levels going through, you have to laugh. It is effing hilarious to see the things that we allowed ourselves to get trapped into, but not only the things we see ourselves getting trapped into, but how beautifully we can come out of it. So it has to be hilarious in the sense of where you should feel, good about yourself on the inside, even if you can look back and see where you probably were the author of your own turmoil. So, just a little play on words. But the main gist of what Saturn is saying is honor your health and healing. You made it through, you still got your health, and you're still in the process of healing. The energy is still there available for you. Don't fool yourself into thinking that you are out of the woods yet. Still got a hold on you, but you're doing beautiful. Keep pushing forward. Now, again, the moon is going to be in the new position. The new position of the moon is, ritualistically used for releases and renewal. Again, Saturn said, get rid of this shit. If we didn't get rid of it on our own, we had it snatched from us. So the new moon is saying, even if you had it snatched from you, we're going to assist you, or the moon itself is saying she will assist you in further releasing it. And her advice for this new moon cycle is, the spiritual law of attraction in reverse. And think about it in the reverse. This is a duality card. And you'll hear me say that a lot. And I'm using my intuition, so it comes at me from different ways. It's saying, yeah, you're still under the law of attraction, but to release that primal sense of law of attraction that a lot of us subscribe to, that, oh, if I keep thinking about it, that's going to be the only thing I get. It's some truth to that, but this is saying let go of these attractions that tied your energy into, because those attractions have led you into the attachments that Saturn is trying to get you out of. So you got to learn that, even though we walk around in these meat suits and we're going to have egoic based energies and we're going to have primal and carnal thoughts and things like that, you don't have to be enslaved to them, You can, release them, and you don't have to tie yourself into the law of attraction. Most of us older folks, we bought ourselves into the law of karma. Karma was always that bitch. Oh, you do wrong, you're gonna get wrong. And we all know that that's, on a higher level, that's a lie the way we were sold it. We were sold it as in if you do wrong, you're gonna get wrong. Look at the state of, our history, the planet's history, and all that stuff. There's been a lot of things that have taken place that did not karmically match out. And that's because we haven't sat down and made that lesson become a satisfied thing. And that's not in the sense of, saying you have to have a revolution and all this other stuff. It's if you cannot justify the energy, or if you cannot justify the cessation of the energy, saying that you have successfully transmuted the experience itself, then it does not get released. It will stay in a state of attraction, even on a subconscious level. So that card they're saying is you need to work your magic, and you need to understand what the law of attraction truly is from all aspects. It is not just as simple as saying if I close my mind off from something, then it will no longer be attracted to me, and vice versa. If I keep paying attention to something, it's just gonna come to me. That's again, that sense there is like faith without works. Hell, I want to be a millionaire, but if I'm not putting anything forth to get to the millionaire level, I'm kind of like screwed. So the Saturn is saying continue healing. The moon is saying get a better sense of the law of attraction and don't tie yourself into it. Then we get down here planet for planet, and I mean not planet for planet, but zodiac sign for sign. I'm an Aries. My thinking is we're always first. I mean we're the first house, so I'm gonna always start us first. The gemstone for Aries is a Herkimer diamond, and this is one of my Herkimer hydros, so I'm using it. What Aries needs to be aware of with Saturn going back direct and coming into this karmic gate on 9/9, the new moon, is we need to be aware of the High Lord of gratitude and service. It's a two. We need to look ourselves in the mirror and figure out exactly where we going to go from here. Because again, you are almost out of a lesson, but you need to make sure that you don't trap yourself back into attractions. So you need to practice a sense of selflessness and humility and conscious action. And I can say this firsthand for myself, being that you had such a heavy turmoil that like kicked your ass a few months ago, and now you see yourself healing beautifully. Are you gonna go back into that old way of thinking and thinking that I can handle anything, and so you don't gain that sense of humility, and then you just go back into your old ways of thinking because now you think you consciously can watch out for it and overcome it. That's kind of like foolish. If you go through something and you gain the knowledge of how to stay away from it, then you should evolve out of it or transmute through it. You should not stay trapped in that same energy and just think that, okay, well, the next time it comes, I can handle it a little bit more beautifully. Again, it's just like sticking your hand in the fire and saying, okay, I burnt my thumb this time. Next time, I'm going to stick my pinky finger in. If you're going to keep playing with that fire, you're going to get burnt, and eventually it's going to be a grievous injury. So just because you made it through a lesson, don't mean that you need to keep going back to it. So you need to gain a sense of humility, and you need to put yourself in a state of higher service and show gratitude for the fact that even when you thought you wasn't going to make it, the universe didn't leave you, your higher self didn't leave you, your ancestral line didn't leave you. Hell, even friends and family didn't leave you. You made it through. So don't keep going back into the same shit that got you there in the first place. So that's it for Aries. Coming over to Taurus. Taurus, I'm using an emerald. This is a raw emerald. So for Taurus, I got the map maker of destiny. With the karmic lesson and what you need to be working on as far as releasing and renewal is owning your place as the author of the story, the map maker of destiny. This is what this is what you're designed for, and you're designed for this because you wrote this storyline before you incarnated into this meat suit. So you need to walk in your authentic purpose, and you need to stay inspired, and you need to understand that you had the free will to lay off the designs that you put onto this lifetime, and understand that sometimes when you do come into trials and tribulations, I'll use that word, if you come into those, then sometimes it's because you've already left your way, you've already left the key, to the exit. You've already put a door there so you can get out of it. It's just sometimes we like to stay stuck in our turmoils, much like it with this Aries energy. I'd rather stay and play in the same things instead of evolve sometimes. The Taurus just doesn't even want to look at it at all. He just wants to stay stuck, and I'm on the map and I'm lost. But you'll see a lot of memes or whatever will say where a man won't ask for directions, and in some senses it's too because they're stubborn like a bull. And so if you just are not, making any chances or changes to get yourself out of your situation, then that's your free will. And you're going to stay stuck, and because you're not owning your sense of being the map maker of destiny. And I hope that makes sense to some of your Taurus. And again, this is for your moon signs. So even though I was saying Aries here, I'm a Capricorn moon. So that would apply to Aries moon. This was for Taurus moon. And now we're coming into Gemini moon because we're dealing with moon energy. So I apologize for that mishap. So for your Gemini moon, if you're a Gemini moon, the way this new moon and this Saturn going direct is going to affect you on a karmic sense is the whale watcher in reverse. With the whale watcher in reverse, it has to deal with wisdom, power of the divine, and it's a 7. And so that 7 is self-awareness. This is you're gonna get both of it. You're gonna get both ends of it. It's speaking from both ends, as in it's a upright and a reversal at the same time, which is pretty fitting for a Gemini. It depends on which side you're gonna listen to. That more egoic, steep side that likes to run the emotion. And remember, we're dealing with the moon and the moon side. The moon sign. The moon rules your emotion. So if you don't check yourself before you find yourself becoming emotional, then you're going to be operating with a sense of no self-awareness. You're not going to be moving wisely, and you're going to be relying more on your power of yourself than the power of your higher self, and a sense of knowing that the universe is here to assist you if you will only assist yourself. So, think about a whale watcher. Sometimes you're standing there watching a whale that's empty and dry, and you'll just be sitting there stuck. And if you watch too closely, you'll mess around and fall in there and get lost in the sauce. So if you give in to your fear mind, if you give in to the emotional side of your mind, if you're a Gemini moon, you may find yourself in turmoil around that karmic gate, which means you ain't going to get out of that lesson. If you are watching that whale and waiting for that pot of gold to come up because you have already been pulling on the strings to attract it and manifest it, then you're finna get your pot of gold, and you will be, moving wisely, and then you can just, see that things were divinely designed, and all you had to do was stand fast and get into a state of observance instead of trying to exert control where control is the enemy. And that's what a lot of people are going through right now, as far as the Geminis I know anyway. So from Gemini, you go to Cancer. And again, this is Cancer moon. First of all, that stone for Gemini was a Botswana agate. And over here to Cancer, it's another moonstone, because that's one of their stones. The moon sign for Cancer is getting the keeper of the scales in reverse. Fairness and balance. Again, another duplicity. And it's a 38, which comes into 11. If you know anything about Cancers, communication is a big thing with them. So that's why that 3 is sitting in front of that 8. 3 is communication. If communication goes off smoothly, then that 8 becomes abundance. If they're putting too much of their energy into how they're taking communication, as far as how much they're putting out into other people and how they're perceiving how other people are communicating with them. If they're looking at that from a bad angle, then that 8 becomes overwhelmed. And then that 11 becomes a blinding light instead of it being the opposite of an illuminating light that will set you free. And then your scales will be unbalanced because you have not only dealt with others fairly, you're not dealing with yourself fairly. And that gets back into the spiritual law of attraction, and you didn't do healthy healing because you're still carrying all them attachments. Most Cancers have this sense of, I want to see you win so bad that I'll kill you. And if I'm wrong, if that don't apply to your Cancer moon, then good for you. That means you met a set of involvement, or you have not made it to that state to where that becomes an issue. But most Cancers want others to make it so damn bad that they almost become abusive in nature. So moving on from Cancer, you go over to Leo. For Leo, I use the black tourmaline. The Leo moon is the sacred moon. The sacred union, and it's partnership and romance. So with that, it's a 27. So if you're a Leo moon, in some cases, this might be a chance for you to put to rest, but also initiate new love. To be honest with you, this is in the partnership and romance. This is you putting the old to rest. So that is a true sign of getting out of a karmic situation, but at the same time creating a new karmic situation, but one that is going to be under a better sense of the spiritual law of attraction, because you're not going to be asking for just what you want. You're going to be asking for what you need, what your soul truly requires beyond the sense of ego. And that's a 27. That's another 9. We're under a 9, so then that makes this now a triple 9. So that is, like a sense of perfection. You have reached the highest vibration for the triangulation of yourself, your mind, your body, and your soul. So if you can practice that sacred union, if you can look at yourself and be fully aware of what you're wanting the other person to mirror within yourself, meaning when you look at that other person that you may be choosing or that other situation that you may be choosing, and this is not always like, say, relationship. This could be you starting a business, but you look at that business as your baby and you see that complete and whole, then, that two becomes that seven. I mean, the two and that seven blend together, and that seven is your self awareness. So if you're fully seeing yourself in the reflection, then you are fully aware of the situation and you have met your highest vibration and you can gain that sacred union, and it'll be a beautiful partnership and it will bring you that fairy tale ending, or at least the beginning of a new karmic situation that can lead you to that fairy tale ending. You'll just have to put in work. So that's what's for Leo moon. Let's see, after Leo, we're currently in Virgo. So for Virgo is normally a blue sapphire. I don't have any blue sapphire on hand, so I use the blue opal. Close enough. It's the fire prince in reverse. With the fire prince in reverse, it's a 40, which is a 4, which kind of speaks towards a lack of balance. And it's kind of like fitting because this new moon is in Virgo. So it's going to kind of hit the Virgo moon a lot harder than the rest of us. And with Saturn doing that flip flop from, reverse to stationary direct, it's going to be kind of like a little bit of whiplash. So if you are a Virgo moon, you're going to have to be careful finding yourself thrown forward and hitting a little point of anger. It's almost like somebody hit the brakes too hard. Now you spilled the hot coffee on yourself. You get immediately pissed before you get your bearings because that's your initial reaction. So don't find yourself thrown into a sense of aggression and wanting to burn everything until you slow yourself down enough to realize, hey, I'm still back here healing. Okay, I thought I was past this situation, but Saturn told me, wait a minute, you still got a little bit more work to do. And maybe I need to do that work based off of the fact of I need to be mindful of how I'm attracting some of these things. So for you Virgo moons, you're going to need to slow down. And if you do get tested, because remember that 9-9 is a karmic gate. So sometimes your karmic situations will present themselves. A lot of people probably already be getting these phone calls from their exes or phone calls from family, friends, the job, whatever they're trying to, make peace with is probably presenting itself, like this. Hey, are you really ready to get rid of me? And if it is sitting in the back of your mind, like, I got to stay away from this. Sometimes staying away from it is still playing a false sense of attraction because it sits in the back of your mind and you're not making peace with it. That's kind of like what I was saying at the beginning of this video about why karma in the larger sense never satisfied itself in this planet. We can cry about our ills, but collectively we do shit about it. So you're running from your problems as a whole. That same energy rides on this Virgo moon, and then even with this Virgo moon, it's at 17 degrees. That's an overwhelm because you're not looking at the total potential of your self-awareness. You're hiding shit from yourself. So Virgo moon, don't keep hiding shit from yourself. If you know you're doing it and you find yourself at an anger point, pull yourself out of yourself and get back into a state of balance before you move ahead, or you might be getting caught back over here in another karmic cycle through your attractions. So from Virgo, we go to Libra. This is an opalite. The card for Libra is the Lady of the Gift in reverse, and it's a 20. So that's a self-reflection, but it's also what you're taking in is what you're going to end up putting out. The card speaks towards generosity, receiving, and withholding. Basically, everything I just said. What you're taking in is going to be what you're going to put out, and this is a gift in all honesty. So this is not a reversal, as in you're going to lose something. This is what the universe is offering you as a Libra. If you're going to be the scales, this is going to be a chance for you to balance your own energy, as long as you're mindful of the fact that you too, just like the rest of us, are still going through the healing process. Don't fool yourself into thinking that, oh, well, I'm a Libra, we're just naturally balanced anyway, that ta-da, you're already through your turmoil. If you slow yourself down and say, okay, I see where I might end up getting off balance because, XYZ is still an existing issue. If you still see the issue, then you can still work on the issue. If you have ran ahead of the issue and just made a presumption that your natural innate ability as a Libra will give you balance, then you're screwing yourself. and you're going to receive what you have attracted. So from Libra, don't wait. Let me see. Virgo, Libra. I'm pretty sure it's Scorpio. Pretty sure it's Scorpio. So from Libra, we go to Scorpio. Scorpio is an aquamarine, one of my favorite stones, and it's the Shadow Queen in reverse. Let me make sure I got this right. Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. Okay, good. Just had to make sure. So Scorpio is the Shadow Queen in reverse. And this is a chance for you to let go of that vindictive side, Scorpio moon. That you know, I may have forgiven you, and I may be trying to heal through that situation, but I'm gonna attract that rematch. Eventually, I'm gonna pay you back. And that Shadow Queen is still holding on to some, animosity in some level. Think about that Scorpion. He can sit there and be patient as shit, and wait till the prey walk in front of him and walk back and forth, and he gonna sting him when it's the right time for him to act. So let go of that vindictive energy, Shadow Queen, Virgo, because it's a 1 and a 6. It's you're placing the potential in the wrong foundations. If you're trying to say, okay, I'm working through this and I'm healing my hurts and I'm gonna keep my health, but I'm gonna pay you back. I'm gonna wait in the shadows and I'm gonna get you when I can. And so, that kind of like plays into your insecurities. The card speaks towards insecurities and manipulation and acquiring knowledge, because it's like you're going to lay in wait and you're just going to get all the factors that's going to make it more beneficial for you to become the aggressor in the situation, so to speak. But sometimes you have to learn your lessons by healing through your lessons, because it will mess with your health. And what you don't let go of, you're still attached to. And what you're attached to is what you're going to keep attracting. So, Scorpios, if you're a Scorpio moon, let it go. Be like that aquamarine. It is a very, very good emotional balancer. Absorb that energy, get your balance, figure out what's best for you and your path, and stop trying to play payback on those who may have wronged you and, in some sense, taken you off your path. Because in 95% of the situations, you could probably look back and see where you were the author of your own turmoils, just like the rest of us. So from Scorpio, we go to Sagittarius. For the Sagittarius, I have a Sleeping Beauty turquoise, and it's the Camel Boy, but it's a 33. So this is, if you don't learn your lesson, if you're a Sagittarius moon, if you ain't learning this lesson, you about to get schooled. Be honest with you, just straight up. The Camel Boy. Small steps and asking for help. If you took the small steps in the sense of, okay, I'm letting go of the control, I'm surrendering, I'm gonna take the small steps and stay aware, and observe the situation and learn it in full, then you're that camel boy who asked for help and actually, received it. You can have that camel given to you to get you out of that desert. You're the boy versus the camel. If you took small steps in the sense of you knew what you're supposed to be getting rid of, but you wanted to just, do it at your own pace because it's too big and it's too heavy, and I don't want to heal so bad because it hurts too much. Then you didn't ask for the proper help and you didn't teach yourself the lesson, so now you're about to become the student. And then you're gonna be that camel who's gonna have that little boy riding his ass through the rest of the desert. So be careful, Sagittarius moon. Coming over here to my moon, Capricorn moon. Capricorn moon, this is a star ruby. We have the Queen of the Light, and it's a 15. It is, if you're aware of where your manipulation and where your manipulators and where you have been the manipulatee, the manipulator, I should say. If you can see all forms of that manipulation, where you were the victim, you were the protagonist, and when it was just the universe just going in direct flow. When you can look at things for what they are, you get a better sense of how to reach a higher sense of illumination, which will bring you towards your enlightenment, and it will allow you to celebrate. And I'll tell you, as a Capricorn moon, ain't nothing like celebrating your own growth, as you know that you still have more health and healing and growing to go through by being aware of what you're attracting. And if you don't know anything about Melchizedek, he's a very high magical figure. Supposedly, it was like Abraham's teacher, if you want to go into the allegories of the Bible. So with this Queen of the Light, it's a 15. Again, it is placed the potential to see where the manipulation is going in at, and that will give you a 6. 6 is foundation. This is a chance for you to let go of that karmic situation. So for us Capricorn moons, if you dealing with some shit and you in this karmic gate, you better detach it. I used to be a truck driver. Hell, once a truck driver, always a truck driver. Think of it when you're going to do a drop and hook. You get to that dock and you drop that trailer and you pull off and go on to your next assignment. This is a drop and hook for you truck drivers who understand that. Drop that load that has been dragging you down through the law of attraction. Continue your health and healing and move on towards the light, because it will give you a sense of celebration, because you will not only be enlightened, you will be lighter. Lose that dead weight. So from Capricorn, you go over to Aquarius moon, and this is a garnet. And for Aquarius moon, you have the dragon's duel in reverse. This one is a true reversal. This is a garnet is a very heavy grounding stone. It also serves as a pretty good shield. It will shield you from a lot of earthly attachments or whatever, lower level spirits and all that stuff. So that Dragon's Duel card speaks towards, I'm trying to get rid of that glare. The Dragon's Duel card speaks towards inner conflict. This is a time to let go of that inner conflict and stop having struggles with morality, and make sure that you are aware of your conscious choices. If you are playing that law of attraction, I think I can still deal with, this situation on a certain level. And sometimes a lot of us fool ourselves with that. Aquarius, from my perspective, can be all four signs. It can be earth, it can be air, it can be water, it can be fire, all at the same time. That Aquarius, if you look at the true classical picture of it, is basically doing everything in existence at the same time. It is handling all forms of elements. If you can't buy into that symbology, then, go with what resonates. Make yourself happy. But for me, the Aquarius thinks it can do it all because it can be all. And that will lead you into a duel within yourself, because when you find yourself getting beat up by the universe and you have to go through this health and healing, you're going to be beating yourself up saying, man, I thought I was stronger than this. So now you're punishing yourself, and then you having these conflicts within yourself on which way you should go, what you should do in return, because how dare so-and-so do this to me? That's when you start getting into them inner conflicts and them duels with morality. But you need to be aware of the conscious choices that you made to not only get you there, but the conscious choices you need to make to break that law of attraction that's holding you in externally and internally, so that you get out of it by moving ahead. Put that dragon away. Break that symbolic infinity that these two dragons make, if you look at it from a higher perspective. Those two dragons ain't nothing but caught in an infinity loop, and an infinity loop is basically a sense of overwhelm because you can't own your own energy because you're trapped within yourself. So from there, you can come over to the last one, which is Pisces. If you're a Pisces moon, that's an amethyst, then you have the eyes of beauty upon you. And with the eyes of beauty, I mean, it's just basically telling you to keep clear within yourself, but keep positive expectations. But that clarity speaks towards duality. If you got Pisces energy, you like to be sneaky. It's just kind of like in your blood. I got Pisces energy. That's just who we are. Whether it's your sun, your moon, your rising, it don't matter. If you got Pisces in there, in Pisces energy in you somewhere, you probably got some good little sneaky energy somewhere in some aspect. So you need to be clear in your emotions, and you need to not only be positive in the sense of, like, if your expectations from people, if you got high expectations from people, then you need to be clear with them enough to allow them to have high expectations of you. You can't be the hypocrite. The beauty that you want to see in others, you also need to display it from yourself. And that comes out in that 25 right there, because when you're looking in that mirror, what movement are you creating? That 2 is that looking in the mirror, and that motion is that 5, but it's also the creativity. Are you going to be a manipulator, or are you going to be a manifester, or are you going to tie yourself into struggles because you're not being honest not only with yourself, but you're too busy trying to hold on to that sneaky energy because you don't like to divulge what you're hurting or how you're healing, because again, you're trying to in some senses prevent the law of attraction because you're scared of getting overly attached, because a lot of Pisces moons have a lower level. No disrespect to any of y'all if it rubs you the wrong way, but there's a little bit of self-esteem issues in there where you just don't want somebody getting too deep into your emotional field, because you feel like you're going to lose that sense of control, which basically is tied into that clandestine energy that I was forementioning. So you need to look at the eyes of beauty, and you need to be clear with yourself, and you need to be clear with the others who are in your karmic situation, so that you don't find yourself justifying a whole nother cycle. Even if you move past one person, if you don't learn how to justify that energy, it's just going to transfer to another person. Can't think of that Denzel Washington movie with him and John Goodwin. It was some kind of devil or something like that. And whenever the devil would touch somebody else, the energy would jump from meat suit to meat suit. It's the same way with some energetic experiences that are karmically tied. Just because you got out of one situation with one person, did you do enough to justify that energy not following you? Because then the energy is just going to follow you and present itself in another person or another situation until you learn how to deal with the situation with a sense of clarity and have a positive expectation, so that you find a way to see the beauty in all things. The eyes of beauty should have beauty in everything it sees. So Pisces, cut the shit. And that's what I got for everything. If it doesn't resonate for you, much like I always say, I apologize, but it is what it is. Peace and wholeness. This was again the reading for Saturn going direct, and for this new moon tying us into this 9-9 karmic gate. And these were for the moon signs. Peace.